Hey there, welcome to One Take, powered by backers.
Right? No judging.
Yeah.
No judging.
And the millennials are really changing that.
Is charm. No.
All success begins with desire.
I feel like I'm on fire right now.
Hey there, welcome to One Take, powered by backers. I'm Justin Fox. This is Raj Suppiah. Raj, thank you very much for joining me today.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. So, physiotherapist extraordinaire. You are the co-founder of Foundation Physiotherapy. You've been in private practice since 2006. You built the company on your passion of delivering high-quality healthcare in a progressive, non-traditional setting. Raj, welcome to the show.
Thanks. You got it down.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's easy to read people's bios, right? But that's now. So a bio is one thing.
Yeah.
Let's learn about Raj, the man. So I did look at your bio a little bit. So Western grad, 99, I think.
99, yeah.
So puts you at about 40.
we're gonna talk. No, yeah, sure.
Hey, whatever. We're gonna have fun. I
started at Western in 99.
Yeah.
Finished in 2003. That was my undergrad.
Yeah. The reason I know is I'm 42. I started in 97.
There you go.
Brock.
Exactly. So there you go.
So I got the math pretty well down.
We did those OAC years, right?
OAC years, exactly. Yes.
University a little bit later, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We were like 19 when we went to university.
I was 19. There was kids actually. I remember. Let's talk about this story. I remember a kid, a buddy. He's still a buddy actually now. Yeah. His birthday, I think, was September 6th or 7th. We started on the 3rd. He couldn't go to the bar for the first 4 days of Frosh Week. It was like he's so close. Another guy was like November. He actually got carded with fake ID and had to, I think, a fine or some sort of had to go meet with
those were
and
the
it's
days.
So crazy. Yeah. It's like literally like I'm just by happenstance born in April. I'm 19. They're only.
We had a guy kicked out of our dorm for smoking weed, and it's like.
Well, that was still illegal until last year, right? But
we made it legal anyway. So
eventually, yeah. No, for sure. It's funny. I almost went to Western for phys ed or for kin actually. I took phys ed at Brock, and I Western was the other choice. Yeah. But interesting. So you took health science, right? At Western?
I did my Bachelor of Health Sciences at Western.
Bachelor of Health Science. And then you went to Mac, I think it said, right?
I went to Mac for physiotherapy.
For physiotherapy. Interesting. Why don't we start at the beginning? So you get into physiotherapy. I've actually gone to some physio recently, and I've talked to a few physiotherapists, and obviously running backers, very much sort of the entrepreneurial. I talked to a lot of entrepreneurs, but from what I gather, physios for the most part are not very entrepreneurial.
No, that's actually a good way of putting it. I think most of us are actually solo businesses or sole proprietors
to some extent,
yes,
but not really looking at the bigger clinic kind of mindset. I actually had
this discussion with somebody being a business owner and being a sole proprietor, or being independent is very
different things
than entrepreneurial. I think entrepreneurial has kind of a definition of being more vision oriented, big picture management, that kind of traction, that kind of stuff, right? That's not really how most of us are, and that's fine. Most of us are trained to be on the ground service providers, and that's how it's built. But
that's the mindset, right? You've gone to many years of schooling to become experts at a practice of supporting and providing a service.
Exactly. And I think that's the big difference between a fixed mindset and an entrepreneurial mindset. Or healthcare and science, for the most part, because it is science based, it is a bit more fixed. It's based on evidence, facts, right? Which we still don't stray away from. But I think the way of delivering it can certainly be enterprising, right?
Right.
I think there's still lots of innovative ways to deliver care, as we've seen kind of all over the world, on how they deliver healthcare. But the actual healthcare can be the same.
Right. Interesting. So the reason I asked that question was kind of what inspired you to kind of arguably break the mold and go from practitioner. And we kind of joked briefly there off air, you're still a practitioner right? But, to go from practitioner to, arguably the entrepreneurial mindset, like what was that kind of?
I think I've always had that mindset. I just probably didn't know what to call it. I've always just been like can I swear on this show?
Fuck yeah.
I've always been like kind of like the disturber. I've always been kind of like, always like questioning the norm, right? I wasn't the smartest kid. Like I smart enough to get where I need to get, but I wasn't like the A+ student in physio school either, right?
Well, they say what is it, the B, no, I don't know the saying because I get sayings wrong, but something to do with like either the B's or C's are going to be the bosses.
I don't, because we have to make up for our ego somewhere else, right?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah, I think it's like what is it? A students work for C students.
Work for C students, and B students work at the government, maybe.
Yeah,
something like
that.
B students are teachers. C students are the CEOs of the A students.
Yeah. No. So I mean, I guess that's always been like my type. I've always been questioning things, right?
Right.
But I also was, I also had to follow the rules, and I had to make sure that I got stuff done. And then at some point in your career, you've been working, and then you're just kind of thinking like, I want to do stuff a different way, right? I want to make my kind of how I deliver my care a bit more interesting, a bit more cooler.
Right.
Just take a bit more risks. I've been practicing in downtown Toronto, and I saw like the change of people's demands were different.
Okay.
And I'm like, there's a way that we can actually market this service differently. And there's a way that we can actually deliver the service in a more cooler, savvier method. And to get people in the door, just non-traditionals. I've always been a non-traditionalist, is what you call it, right?
Right.
So I think that mindset kind of helped me when I got into a kind of very traditional environment. I was always the guy that was, but what if? I wasn't the easiest person to be employed. I'm not going to lie, right?
I've had a lot of people out here, and you're not the first that said
I was actually
I'm unemployable.
I was actually terminated. Like,
okay.
Very few physiotherapists get terminated because they just have to come in and do their work. And I was terminated not because I was a bad physio, but just because I was doing some very enterprising things on my own that conflicted with the current employer that I had. So it's just been me, right?
Interesting.
And so, that was just that's kind of what led me to kind of open my own thing anyways.
Right.
And then I'm like, I'm going to do it myself. I'm a little bit of a dick. I'm a bit of, this is, mind you, 10 years ago, right? I was in my late 20s, early 30s. So you have a little bit more like fire back then, right? Like you want to do stuff. You want to do it your way. You don't listen to anybody. I probably learned over the years as I've managed people and understood, my own personality, how to fix it.
that maybe you were just a little bit, there's definitely, there's value in that, right?
Yeah.
There's motivation in that.
Got me here, right?
Yeah.
Like, got me here, but modesty is going to keep me a little bit longer, I think.
Right.
But certainly that raw ambition that myself, my business partner had, he's very similar. We're just two young guys that just wanted to like, we're gonna go do this.
Yeah.
So nice place downtown Toronto, and we kind of made it a very cool kind of clinic, and that was how we delivered our care. And we could talk more about the details as to how we do it.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like, give me. So, I mean, I've like I said, I've sort of been going through physio a little bit past year. Seen a couple different clinics. There, I would argue, so St. John's Rehab. So both inpatient and outpatient, right? So I would assume that's hospital sent. Like that's probably as traditional by the book,
exactly,
maybe as you're gonna get, right? And so I can picture that. Like, give me sort of what your vision, so just so people can read. It's like
and remember, like
a giant room, bunch of beds, some bikes, or I'm saying what that is what St. John's is like. It's just kind of like a giant room, a bunch of equipment. No knock against them. They obviously did what they were supposed to, I guess, in my case. But what's sort of what were you looking, or why did you envision it different?
That was essentially how the traditional. It was kind of more. It was kind of like almost like a little offshoot of a hospital. That's how these clinics were. There are curtains, carpeted floors, like some beds, and then a big gym in which people would be on their.
I just want to say though, just before we bash them totally, shout out to St. John's
for sure.
Appreciate everything they did for me.
And it's a different model,
but different model,
and it's a model that works. I mean, it was a model that worked on how it worked. And I just felt like I wanted to make it a little bit more boutique. I wanted to sell like a more superior product,
Okay.
right?
So it's not just hospital curtains and a hospital bed. It's now more like
we have
if I'm
private
paying
rooms.
for it, I'm getting a bit of a different kind of feel.
Like we don't do like insurance billing. We're very like private type of physio, private care, right? We market directly to clients. We don't go through insurance companies or lawyers or any of those stuff, right? We want our clients to find us. We want clients who want to pay for a good experience.
Okay.
And that's the clients that we want, the customers that we want. So private rooms, one-on-one. We really make our staff super accountable for getting results and getting outcomes. Our front desk, we call them client experience reps. We prefer them to come from a hospitality background versus like a medical receptionist background. Right. We look for that kind of we look for the energy in our staff. And it was essentially just what myself and Matt had. We just had that energy. We just had that vibe. We wanted to make sure that that's what made the two of us so successful when we opened our clinic. That when we decided to scale and hire more, that was what we were banking on is that experience and that personality and that type of practitioner that we wanted. And just to have that experience to be like top notch, right? Our motto, one of our sayings we have with our staff is if a client or a customer had to grade every interaction they had in these four walls, they have to give it 5 out of 5 stars, right?
So there's no room for error kind of thing.
No room for error. That is that whether it's picking up on the phone or helping somebody out, or doing a mobilization on them or teaching them an exercise. Every touch point is a 5 out of 5 experience. And then, you have to be able to understand your client and deliver that service to that level, because we know that's where we have to meet our clients' expectations and deliver that care up to those expectations. So there's a lot of accountability on that.
It's so I'm going to ask a question. Maybe this is maybe the only hard question I'll ask all day. So from a hiring perspective, how do you go through that process to ensure that, obviously you mentioned, employee 1 and 2 is you and your partner. I mean, that's easy. Maybe 3, 4. That's still, this is easier.
Exactly.
Like 7, 8, 9, 10. Like you're starting to kind of get like a bit of away from like how do you ensure that? And I'm sure a lot of small businesses as they're scaling, how do you ensure that employee number 10 or 20, is still getting that or feeling like that same 5-star or better kind of thing?
That's the best
mindset
question, because that is the stuff we're still learning, right?
Okay.
When that was myself and Matt, and we were the two clinicians, and we had people working with us, we could see them every day and we could instill those values.
Right.
Now I'm not at the clinics every day, and I have 3 clinics.
Right.
We have 3 clinics, right? So it's like, how do we pass those values down from a different method?
Exactly.
So we train our trainers, we train our clinic leaders, our clinic managers. We create interdependency between the teams so that they're all learning off each other. We create a vision and values document. When we onboard, we're extremely diligent about onboarding those values onto our new staff. Something I've learned recently also is it can't just end at onboarding though. It's constant. And I've learned that just from some recent courses I've taken through management and people first culture type stuff. And a lot of my professional development recently has been more on management and culture. And it's like constant driving in our values and driving in our mission so that people don't forget it. So that's been it's still a learning method for us. And obviously as the company grows, more and more people come on,
ever evolving,
keep innovating and adapt the way we push these values. And then over COVID, it was like, we got to do it through Zoom, because we weren't seeing people face to face. So we have to constantly adapt. And I think that's where the hardest jump. Opening a business is easy, but it's like keeping those business and keeping
growing and getting it.
People in your business following the vision that you want and executing the care that you want. That's the hardest part, right? Because you can't treat them all. But if you really believe in, we really believe in our vision of how we want to execute our care, then we have to work on making sure that those values are spread across our staff.
Interesting. So, okay, just on air, can you, we use kind of like the vision, mission, values. Like, can you give us what your sort of your vision, mission, and values are?
So our vision actually, it's funny because we're doing an onboarding with some new staff on Friday. So I was just reviewing all those documents today, so I've got it fresh. So our vision,
give it to us fresh. There you go.
Our vision is essentially to be leaders in the healthcare experience. That is our vision.
Okay.
That's where we want to be, right?
Okay.
Our mission is by delivering a 5-star service from the moment you call us to the moment you finish your plan of care.
The whole experience.
A 5-star service. And then we have 5 core values: collaboration, optimal client experience. We are results driven, we're energetic, and we're specialized, right? We know what we do. You know, we have to make sure we hit all those things. We don't want to just be fun and a cool, nice looking place. We
You want to know
smart
actually functional what you're
experts. Yeah,
doing,
we
right?
want to be smart experts. So we focus on that part too on our staff, is make sure they're taking their courses, make sure they're taking their professional development, getting the results. We track results, we track experience, we track all those things internally to ensure that all of our clients' needs are being met.
Interesting. So just out of curiosity, how many staff with 3 locations are you at? You're onboarding some more. What kind of numbers
So I
are
would
you
say
at?
we have about 25 staff.
Okay, so
Across
you're
the
definitely
three.
growing.
Yeah, 25 staff across the 3. A good, I'd say about 3/4 of them are clinical staff, and then the other quarters are administrative staff.
Okay.
Staff. Yeah.
Very cool. And I guess, I mean, this may be, I'm trying not to, I think these are really good questions. So hopefully,
Yeah, for sure.
Like from an employee standpoint,
Yeah.
like what's the feedback you're getting from people? Are you getting, I mean, you mentioned the hospitality for sort of the front, and obviously the practitioners have to be traditional, educated physios or maybe other practitioners. What's the feedback you're getting from them? Is there almost like a demand or waiting list to come work with you guys, or like what's kind of the general feedback in the marketplace?
When we recruit, we get a lot of uptake, right?
Okay.
People can see our culture online. We have
that's what I was getting at. They can,
right. So a lot of new graduates are always applying for us. They see kind of our vision. They see how we practice. They kind of see it as a cool place to work, right? So we do get good recruitment. Internally, we have to consistently work on morale, right? It is a hard business to be super successful in, because you have to drive your own caseload. You have to be really good at getting patients to come back and getting patients.
As the therapist?
As a therapist, yep.
Okay.
So we have to work on helping our therapists be successful and giving them the right tools on how to talk to clients. That's when we start, right? So we want to make them successful. We want them to be busy, right?
Right.
Because a busy therapist is a successful therapist.
Interesting. And that's let me actually pull back for a second, because you talked about it, and I didn't realize this. Maybe I guess in different sort of clinical environments, it might be slightly different. But like, so somebody in your clinic is like you said, almost a sole proprietor, or they are a sole proprietor.
Almost. Yeah.
Would they be the same in some of the more traditional clinics as well? Or
we like to almost call them more like commissioned staff, right?
Okay.
Right.
That's an interesting term. Yeah.
Right. Like they are employees of the company. They're not
Right.
their own businesses. They're employees of the company, but they're getting paid based on their commissions, right?
Based on like actual output kind of thing.
Output, exactly, right? Like, because when they start, we typically give them some lump sum or a stipend to help start, because they're young, they're new. But as they build their caseload, Justin, we expect them to be able to carry a caseload. That's where the accountability comes in, right? Need to you're getting results. You don't want a patient to come in once and not come back. We haven't done our job. We haven't hit our values, right? We want them to come back. We want them to tell their friends. We want them to rave about us, right? In order to do that, they have to come back and love what you do. But that will also turn around to being successful with a therapist, because that's where the commission part comes in. So typically, along their kind of journey as an employee, we convert them to, they're always staff, they're always employees, but we convert them to a commissioned employee.
More of a performance-based.
Exactly, in which they get like a split based on it. So obviously, the busier you are, you take home more. The less busier you are, you don't. And it's about working within those kind of dynamics to make sure that we ensure our staff can get to those points. That's where I would say the harder part is in keeping those staff, a little bit more longer term.
Interesting. So I have 2 kind of points to that, and this is kind of very interesting, because it's probably a model that I didn't really know existed in the sort of the physio realm. I just assumed they would be sort of salaried employees, right? So one question I would ask, and this is, I mean, I've come from sort of the sales, business development, 100% commission, or variables of percentages of commission. So very understanding of that environment. How do you then motivate people to not be motivated by just the dollars? Like how do you balance the burn and churn kind of mindset versus like quality care? I get the 5-star, maybe that you already answered the question, but I'd like to hear it again. Like what,
I mean, I guess,
how do you balance between the two, right?
It's good, right? Like, I guess we are like the way we deliver our care and the way we set up our business, we make it sure that, people aren't going to come back to see you if you're not good.
If it's crap, yeah, I get it. Yeah. So the
Like
5-star part kind of,
yeah, like they're not going to come back to see you if they don't
if you
have
don't
to.
know.
We're in downtown Toronto. There's a lot of options.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So it's competitive, right? So
Right.
what we say as a company is we market to help get you a new patient in the door. We get you a new patient, and we create metrics around like, we don't want you to, we don't want you to sell more and more therapy to a patient if they don't need it.
So
But
sort of like you're trying to avoid the upsell, constant kind of
yeah, like
yeah. Okay.
you have a discussion with the patient, and to be honest, like if you deliver the right type of care to the patient, the right outcomes, they'll come back to see you. And
Right.
a person isn't going to come see you 20 times and not getting better. Because we also are, the way our business is, they pay out of pocket, right? We don't direct bill insurance. So our model is such around that there is accountability to the practitioner, right?
Right.
We're not looking for 20, but we're not looking for 2 either, right? And science has shown that the average person gets better, with the right therapy program for about 6 to 8 weeks. That turns around to about 8 to 10 visits. So we create metrics around, we have metrics that we run within our system, 8 to 10 visits, right?
Interesting.
And these are the things that we do. We run metrics on our staff, which is also quite innovative. And it's very tough on them, but it is interesting because we don't just say, hey, sit here and wait for people to come. Because I find that, what I've noticed in the industry is we're not outcome driven, right? And we want to get patients their outcomes.
Right.
Because then patients will love what you do and they'll love physio. And if people can relate physio to my brand or our brand,
Right.
people can say physio is foundation physio, and that's how I want physio to be. Then we've done our job.
Then you've changed the game, basically.
Then we've changed the game. And then like I've seen the old school where people come in for 10 minutes, they come for 35, 40 visits, they come in for 10 minutes, they get some hot packs and they go. That's not good, right?
Right.
But then I see people that come in for 1 visit and then they're not really happy and then they don't come back, right? We need that good in between where somebody comes
Right.
10 to 12 times, they feel better, they've gotten the outcomes they want,
They've achieved what
they've achieved what they need. And it's, it can be, sometimes it can be like, 6 visits within the first 3 or 4 weeks as you kind of top front it, top
Right.
load it.
Yeah.
And then you spread it out once a month afterwards to make sure they're doing what they have to do, their exercises and so on. That's how you build a relationship, right?
Interesting. Yeah.
It's all about
No, for sure.
building, right? So it's not about just being a physio and it's not a physio patient relationship. It's more of like a consultant client and that kind of relationship is what we ask our staff to achieve.
Interesting. So, okay, let me go a different direction. So physio, it encompasses a lot of things. Obviously you've got sort of, I think you said going away from the kind of the OHIP, the insurance side,
Yeah.
like who's your typical patient? Like what, you don't have to give me a specific injuries, but what is it? Injuries? I guess that's, or is it like,
our market is typically like a 25 to 45-year-old body conscious individual, right? So somebody who wants to work on their body, somebody who understands their body a little bit, somebody who has maybe, they're active, right? And they will spend they have a, I would say middle to upper class, so they can spend their money and they have some sort of disposable income so that they want to get their health better.
And are you typically treating sort of maybe like recurring ongoing potential ailments, or are you treating like acute type injury? Both? Okay.
We'll take both. We take some of our more senior staff will take more of like those things that just haven't gotten better.
Okay.
Right. And a lot of what's good training for our junior staff is to get those acute injuries, those ankle sprains, I woke up with my back pain, those are great for them to treat.
Right.
But then the leaving mark that we always tell them is make sure this person ever wants to come back, they come back to you. Right. You've got to become that person that they'll come back to all the time.
Right. That they're almost like requesting.
Exactly. Exactly. Because that's how you see success later on. Right.
Right.
And that's how the business can survive. Because then we're building a recurrent business model. We're building recurrent and loyal clients within our team itself. Right.
Yeah.
So our job as the business is to market and get people in the door. And our job is to train our staff. And then our staff's job is not just to treat, but to actually build the relationship. Because then 5 years from now, they'll see it. Hey man, like I saw some of my most successful staff. We had to close for 3 months. And the moment we could open, some of my successful staff were rebooked within 2 weeks because people want to come back and see them. Right. If you weren't successful, if you weren't busy, then people might not come back to see you again.
Right.
Right.
They kind of forget about you.
Exactly. That's how you can ensure good, as a therapist, you can ensure a good salary, a good kind of commission, quality of life is good for you. Right.
You don't have to give me exacts, but like, what is a good physio at your clinic? Like, are we talking high 100? Like
I
close
would
to 100?
I would say like close. Yeah, I would say like if you're fully booked, it would be close to six figures. Yeah.
That's pretty good for comparable to sort of
Yeah.
non-traditional or more traditional. They're
Yeah.
not making those kinds of dollars.
No, it's typically like a hospital's physio might make a salary of like 70 to 80. But that being said, Justin, you're not getting that in year one. You have to build up your
Oh yeah,
case.
that's like
Think
much,
about being a
yeah,
salesperson, right? You have
yeah,
to get there,
right,
right? So you
of
still
course.
have to work. You might have to be on a stipend. You're going to lose a lot of patients because they're not going to come back. You might only make 55, 60,000 your first year.
Yeah,
But the potential is
yeah,
you can actually make 120,000. The potential
yeah,
because schedule, if it's booked up, you can get those people coming back, right?
yeah. No, it sounds like,
So we have metrics built in to make sure that they reach those targets.
and it makes it, I like the fact that they become more accountable, right? To the care, to the relationships, to sort of the whole aspect that they're accountable for it. Not that, I think, the physios I had, they enjoyed what they did and they're very good at what they did.
Yeah.
But I think there definitely is, the broader sense, a bit of space for complacency or kind of like just going through the motions, right?
Exactly. And
which
those
you
are the
want.
practitioners we want. I've been to
Yeah.
doctors before, or doctors they just do and then they just let you be. And you don't know what to do next.
Yeah.
Right? We want our staff and our therapists to build a relationship with their patients.
Yeah.
To the point that patients can email them about anything, they'll come in for anything, to the point that patients will send them business. Right.
Right.
Kind of like the relationship I have with my accountant or with my financial advisor or with my car salesman. I bought you know what I mean? It's they're constantly like nurturing that relationship, right? Even though I don't buy a car every 4 years, he's still just messaging me. How's it going? Do you need this? Do you need that? He calls me in for this. My accountant does the same. That's the kind of relationship. So when I need the help,
Right.
I go back to them.
You're top of mind. Yeah,
And
for
there's
sure.
there's no difference why a physiotherapist can't have that same relationship. And that's what me and Matt saw, is that's what we did with our patients.
Right.
And that's why we were so successful. So that's the philosophy we want our staff to have too.
Interesting. I like it. It's awesome. Well, Raj, I really appreciate you joining me on here.
Nice, man.
Congratulations on the success. When does location number 4 open?
Oh,
Have
man.
like business plan for number 4, or
let me
announce it here, right here.
Oh, no, not yet. You know what? We got I like I said, ambition.
Yeah.
There, but now there's a lot of stuff to fix. We're just coming out of a recession or pandemic.
That was
down. So let's fix I want to fix the ship first, and then we can expand it. Yeah.
That was the other question I was going to ask. I thought of it and I forgot it, but was how did, like you mentioned, you were shut down for what, 3 months?
Yeah.
So you guys were like completely shut.
Yeah.
How did that? I guess we might as well do the COVID question while we're here, right?
Yeah.
How have you rebounded from that? Like obviously it impacted you.
Yeah, so we were shut down for 3 months. We opened up again. Luckily, we were kind of called essential. We opened up again. But what really affected us more, Justin, is we're located in downtown Toronto.
Right.
All
the offices just shut. Yeah.
And so our volume has really changed.
Right.
And that's affected us. So we've really had to come up with innovative ways. And then we've had some staff turnover because people have made personal decisions to move out of the city and other things. So that's been a lot of internal things that we've had to work on. Finding new ways to market and things like that. So it has affected us a little bit. But you know what? We're still here, and I want to fix that first, get that going. Then we look at the next one.
You should do a foundation physio roadshow. Get like a bus and just like drive around to like the other areas of the city or even outskirts and be like, hey, you moved away. We're coming to you with physio.
That we saw a lot of our clients
same
move away.
Experience, right? Well, that's or they're all at the cottage all summer or whatever, right?
Exactly. So I mean, we've seen some of the hit. But we're resilient. Our team, the core of our team is still here, and we've used this time to fix the dynamics, fix the infrastructure, fix the org structure, create new roles and responsibilities, and just look at where the next phase is going to be for this kind of industry.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Raj, thank you very much for joining me. Raj, Foundation Physiotherapy, 3 locations in downtown Toronto, right? So one last question though, one word, piece of advice to a younger you, what would it be?
Stay humble.
Humble.
Right? Shit's gonna happen. Shit is gonna happen. Just get up, keep going.
So the 29-year-old Raj and the 39-year-old Raj, that was the big difference, right?
100%. The 29-year-old Raj.
Humility.
was never humble.
Yeah.
You know, it helped get him certain places, but he probably burnt a lot of bridges.
Right.
40-year-old Roger's trying to fix those bridges.
Right. Well, congratulations on the success. Yeah, definitely continued success. Everyone else, this is One Take, powered by backers. Justin Fox, Raj, Suppiah. I said it wrong.
You got
Suppiah.
it.
Suppiah. Anyways, thank you very much, Raj. Appreciate it. Everyone else, I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Thanks, Raj.
Thanks, man.
Cheers, bye. Hey there, welcome to One Take, powered by backers. Right?
No judging.
Yeah.
No judging.
And the millennials are really changing that.
Is charm. No.
All success begins with desire.
I feel like I'm on fire right now.